welcome back. Now, a group describing itself as Youth for Human Rights Africa is urging the aggrieved Togolese national to use what they call established laws of Togo to deal with their grievances. Now, the group is particularly concerned about the use of live ammunition against protesters who are exercising their democratic and constitutional right. They're also saying the development in Togo could degenerate and violate the rights of the vulnerable. Dr. JoyNews is a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana School of Law and Director of Research for this group, and he will join me on Skype in a bit. But earlier on News Desk, two of the Togolese nationals who live here in Ghana were speaking about the fact that mediation is not an option for those who are protesting against the government of Togo. Let's hear them now, and right after that, we'll engage Dr. Etia on their concerns.
We have reached now, as we say, the mediation will not work anymore, because there have been so lot of accords that have been signed and they will never fulfill them. So how can the opposition believe in any proposal? So that is the problem now. So Togolese seems to be victimized by such a thing, that always to call them on the round table and they go on accord, and these people never do it. So if they tell you, yes, we accept the 1992 constitution, fine, let's go on the round table and talk. You go, you talk, at the end of the day, you see nothing. And to continue, they should just have a look at what happened yesterday. The crowd that went outside, use it and judge. Because the same government, when the opposition planned for demonstration, they also came out and said they're also coming to counter-demonstrate. And they came out, including the Chief Justice and the Prime Minister and other ministers. They all were poured onto the street in support of the president. So these people, what justice can they do? At the end of the day, there will be no right for the opposition coalition to refuse the sitting on the round table. But there, what they will not accept is them to continue and to sign some accords again. What they will tell you is that let's go back to the constitution. Without constitution, there will be no law. If the constitution says A, B, C, D, and you are doing something differently, then you must know that automatically you must go. So the world must tell the government that you are no more fit to rule your people, and you've been there for 50 years.
So those are some Togolese nationals who are living here in Ghana. They're saying that mediation is not an option. Dr. JoyNews, like I said, JoyNews is a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana School of Law and also Director of Research for this group. Hello, sir. Thank you very much for your time here on The Pulse. Hello, sir. If you can hear me, may I find out from you what efforts you've made to contact the key stakeholders on this matter beyond this statement that you've just released to the media? Okay, we're having a bit of a technical issue there, trying to connect with him on Skype, but we're working on it to raise him back on the Skype so that we can get his view on this. Their main concern is about human rights abuse that may arise from this protest and from what's happening in neighboring Togo. We've been speaking, we were supposed to speak with Dr. Etia, who is head of research for the group. Do we have you now, sir? Can you hear me?
Yes. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for your time here on The Pulse. Now, I was asking whether or not you've made contact with any of the key stakeholders on this matter beyond the statements that you've released to the media.
Say it again, please. You said you were asking about...
Have you made any contact with any of the key stakeholders in this matter, what's happening in Togo, beyond the statements that you've released to the media?
We have not been able to make contact directly yet, but we have had opportunity to speak with some on the side of the border here, that is in Ghana, but not on the Togolese side.
What is it that they're telling you? Because those that we spoke to today earlier on our show here say that mediation is not an option. So it appears that they're going to continue in their protest, which of course has been violent so far.
Yes, that is the approach they are adopting now. And the reason for adopting that approach is that the government is not trustworthy. It has happened several times where they have sought to give piecemeal concessions, but in the end, the picture becomes blurred and things return to the normal for the government, whereby violations continue and the political space continues to shut out to the people. And therefore, they think that this is an opportunity where they have momentum on their side and they need to intensify the struggle to open up the space wider so that they can achieve what they are really want to achieve.
My question before was to find out whether you've engaged the stakeholders, and that's because even if you make these statements here in Ghana, the likelihood that it won't reach the necessary target, it won't reach the target, or it won't create the attention that perhaps it requires is very high. What are your plans as a group who are passionate about human rights? What are your plans to help with the situation, which of course may have caused a lot of human rights abuses?
I'm not sure I got your question very well, but if you meant what are we doing next or further to ensure the realization of the goal for democracy in Togo?
Certainly.
Okay. What we are looking at now is that so far it's been a struggle by the civil society organizations and the opposition. But therefore it has remained an internal matter. But we think that the Togolese opposition and the civil society organizations need the support of the international community, especially the ECOWAS community. Right. And so what we are expecting and what we are pushing for now, there will be an intervention by ECOWAS. ECOWAS has had a very good record in terms of pushing for democratic reforms and ensuring that respect for human rights and the rule of law are held in high esteem. They've done that before, even in the same Togo, when at the time that before Nyasingbe came to power through unconstitutional means and sought to impose himself as the Speaker of Parliament and then to become the Prime Minister and so on by overturning the Constitution. ECOWAS stood high and made sure that the right thing was done. So we expect ECOWAS to come in here. And we also expect our own governments to come in here by issuing a statement to let the world know that it is on the side of those who are fighting for justice and equality and for the respect for the rule of law. So that will also send a message to the regime that they cannot compromise on the rights of the people. The people have the right to demonstrate peacefully and the right to demand accountability, democratic accountability, and respect for the rule of law. So it will not be out of place at all, and it will rather be a feather in the cap of the government to do that, knowing that we are recognized as a democracy in the sub-region. And the president has had the opportunity to meet with the Togolese government president before. It shows that if he speaks out, the message might go down well, and it will help to resolve a situation where, in the end, we will not have refugees on our hands, and it will not create instability in the region. We certainly should be on the right side of history.
Okay. Well, sir, we'll say a very big thanks to you for your time here on The Pulse. I've been speaking with Dr. Kwadwo Appiagyei-Etua, who is Head of Research for Youth for Human Rights Africa. Of course, they have concerns about the Togo situation. Let's move away from that story now. And the chairperson of Editors Forum Ghana, Adjoye Boafari, says government should intensify its efforts in achieving the Sustainable Development Goal 6, which is the provision of clean water and sanitation. She says provision of household taps to various homes, especially to the deprived communities, should be the focus of government. This, she believes, will aid in achieving the national sanitation objectives as well as good health practices. She was speaking at the project's launch of Media Awards by Media Foundation for West Africa.
It's time the government and other providers went the extra mile and extended pipelines to homes, especially in deprived communities. Communal standpipes should be phased out. People should have taps in their homes. Sometimes women and children have to walk for miles looking for water. Some children even miss school or are so tired by the time they turn up in class that they can only doze and can't pay attention to the lessons. I am convinced that if men share the burden of fetching water for the home, our governments, mostly men, don't forget, would long ago have seen that extending pipelines to homes is no luxury, but an essential part of development. I tell you, if men had the burden of fetching water for the household, they would have given it a grand, impressive project name and found the money to undertake it. Which brings me to the second prong of Goal 6, sanitation. How do we achieve the national sanitation objective and good health practices if people don't have access to water in their homes? How can the hand-washing campaign succeed when people don't have access to running water at home? And how on earth did Ghana find herself cited in that league of shame of the world's dirtiest countries? A country where, by tradition, even in villages, women get up at the crack of dawn to sweep their compounds and surroundings. Worse, the revelation is that in so many places, including parts of the national capital, open defecation is the norm.
Highlighting the rationale for the award, the executive director at the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleiman Ibrahima, said it's critical for the media to mainstream the SDGs in development reporting, hence the need for this award.
It is a very important development step that the global community has undertaken, and it therefore requires that people are aware, people are knowledgeable, and people do the kinds of things that they have to do in order to contribute their quota towards the success of the SDGs, while at the same time having the knowledge, the skills to be able to engage with authorities and to demand that the authorities do what they have to do in furthering the cause of the Sustainable Development Goals. And we thought that the media have a great role to play in making sure that the SDGs are sustainably implemented. So we have designed a project that is supported by UNDP and UNESCO that is aimed at helping the media to mainstream SDGs reporting in their day-to-day reportage. So this was just to launch that initiative, and it is an initiative that will provide some small grants to journalists who have great story ideas focusing on the SDGs, but for which they would need some financial support to be able to produce them. And so, as was presented here, journalists would have the benefit or the opportunity of submitting their story ideas to us and requesting for some amount of money to be able to produce those stories. And at the end of the day, we are also continuously seeking to inspire journalists to do more work on the SDGs.
Let's return to our previous story about the National Communications Authority that's rolling out what it is describing as UMTS 900, which is a technology that allows mobile network operators to extend the use of 3G data services to remote areas. I have the Deputy Director of the NCA, Kwame Jan, on the telephone lines now to give us a bit of understanding. Hello, sir. Thank you very much for your time here on The Pulse. Now, please break down the UMTS 900 to the understanding of the ordinary Ghanaian. I beg your pardon. Actually, Joe Anoche on the line, sir. Sincere apologies for that mix-up. Thank you very much for your time again. Please break down the UMTS 900 system to the understanding of the non-technological and ordinary Ghanaian like myself, sir.
Okay, good afternoon, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Joy FM for giving the NCA opportunity to provide explanation to your listeners on this exciting initiative. I also like to thank the listeners for their time. So what is UMTS 900? UMTS is Universal Mobile Telecommunication System. It is actually the technology that underpins the 3G mobile services. In short, 3G in general provides what we call a packet-based transmission of text, digitized voice, video, multimedia, at data rates up to 2 meg and above. So here in Ghana, 3G is implemented in the spectrum of 2100.
Okay.
Right? So 2100 megahertz, I should say. So all mobile network operators are licensed to provide 3G, and they are doing so within the 2100 megahertz.
Okay, so essentially you're saying there will be no need for any of the persons living in the remote parts of Ghana who don't have access to internet to upgrade their handsets? That
would be correct. Yes, that would be correct. Yes, they won't have to upgrade because existing UMTS technology exists in all the handsets that we currently have. Now, what is happening is because 3G currently is implemented with the 2100, there's a limit to which the 2100 spectrum can travel. In general, according to the laws of physics, right, the distance of propagation is inversely proportional to the frequency.
That's very technical, and I can tell you that I do not understand.
So what it means is that the lower the frequency, the more further the signal can travel.
Okay.
So now, if you take 2100 and you compare it with 900, so if you have a 900, right, you can go at the more distant direction than the 2100.
Well, very well. Let's talk about you asking the network operators to apply. What really is the process? I take it that what happened today was a launch, and if you could be a bit brief for us because of time constraints. What's going to be the process? If today is a launch, what's going to be the process? Is there a timeline? Is there what are the mobile network operators supposed to do? Please take us through the practical processes.
Okay, so we will write a formal letter giving the mobile operators ability to apply for this. They will come to us, apply, and indicate the number of underserved and unserved areas that they intend to implement this service. We will look at the existing spectrum that we have given them, make sure that there's room there, and then we make a decision for the authorization to proceed. We expect that it will take any time between a week to 2 weeks to go through the authorization process. As we explained, there's no actually fee to the authorization process.
Okay, and is there a timeline again?
We expect that they will be giving the information for them to apply by early next week. So we write to them by early next week. So any one of them that is ready to provide this service should be able to do so as soon as possible.
I bet we'll have to come back to you for a bit more information so that we can trickle down this information to the people in the remotest part of this country who will need to understand what this process that they're supposed to benefit from really entails. But we'll say a very big thanks to you for your time. Joe Anoche is the Acting Director General of the NCA, talking about extending 3G services to the very remote part of the country.